Hello again, I'm Ian Simpson and welcome to my mini lecture series about business strategy. This is lecture number 3 entitled Creating a Strategic Position. Before we continue, let me quickly remind you of my preferred definition of strategy by Michael Porter. Strategy is the creation of a unique and valuable position involving a different set of activities. That is, activities that are different from your rivals or similar to your rivals but done in a different way. Okay, let's jump straight into creating a strategic position for yourself. Normally I talk around the English school and language school industry in Japan and Asia, but you can cross over the principles of what I'm talking about to your business also, and I hope it'll be useful. Okay, 3 basic positions that you could occupy within the market. Don't worry too much about the terminology. The first one is what we call a variety-based position. That is serving the few needs of many customers. Serving the few needs of many customers. Think about that. So an example of that might be a pronunciation school. So many customers are people who want to learn English, but only a few of them want to study pronunciation. But you decide you are going to occupy that position and you're going to do that better than any of your rivals in your town. That could be your position. Kumon, the Juku school, the cram school, they do something similar. So the big group of customers may be kids who want to study after school subjects, but they package a select group of subjects together and they teach those and they do it very well. It's a worldwide business, very successful. That's one. 2, the second position you could occupy is known as needs-based positioning. That is serving the broad needs of few customers. Serving the broad needs of few customers. Either a particular segment of client or a kind of service. So let's talk about segment of client. Let's assume that I have a school that's near a university training hospital. Now I know that there's a lot of medical people who know how to study, who like to study, and who have money in their pocket in that massive institution very close to me. I know a lot of them live in the locality, in nice housing estates, in expensive areas. So if I can base myself somewhere in that area, I might decide that I am going to focus on people, professional medical people. Now they have broad needs. So when they come to me, doctors might come to me and say, well, okay, I'm going on holiday with my family. I just want to do some general English. Then the next month they might say, I have to go to America and do a presentation. Can you please help me with my presentation? Then they might come and say, I need to learn medical English because I'm doing some kind of exam. So they have broad needs. So I would then cater for those people. But it's only a narrow group of customers that I'll be catering for. But I will look after them better than anyone else. The other side of needs-based positioning is a kind of service. So you might decide, well, okay, I've got a good network in Australia and the UK. I'm going to do a study abroad centre. I'm going to open a study abroad office, and I will cater for their broad needs. They have broad needs when they go overseas. They might be cultural, they might be educational, they might be travel. I will cater for those needs. But of course, again, the market is people who study English or languages, but it's only a small group of customers that actually want to go and do study abroad. So that's the second. The third position is called access-based, which is serving the broad needs of many customers in a narrow market. Serving the broad needs of many customers in a narrow market. Now, an example I like to use for this might be the countryside school. You might find yourself in this remote countryside town. For some reason you've ended up there, and actually it could, you think, well, there's not much going on here, but actually it could be an advantage to you, because if you could well have very few rivals. You could drive down your costs because rental properties are cheap. Everyone would know you because you'd probably be one of the very few foreigners in the area. So marketing costs would go down because you'd have a very strong network and people would know you. And this could be an opportunity for you to gain an advantage, a competitive advantage, because of the situation you find yourself in. So how do you decide which position you're going to occupy? Well, if you're a professional, you'll have done your benchmarking in any area that you're going into. You'll have had a look who your rivals are. You'll have had a look what they're doing. You'll have a look what positions are vacant, what you could occupy, what is required. You might well want to look at what positions have been seeded. In other words, a company originally took that position, but because they diversed left or right, they added this, they added that, they've blurred their strategic position, and now customers are not quite sure what they are. That position has become seeded, and it could well be a position you could step into and take over. Or you could create a completely new position for yourself because you see a vacant position that's unoccupied, and you could go in and occupy it. But the point is to have a look at all these things. We've talked about it in previous lectures about location and rivals and your strengths, your core strengths, your weaknesses, what you want to be, what you don't want to be, etc. One thing you don't want to do is straddle, something we call straddling. What straddling is, straddling can be detrimental to your business. What it is this. I have my school. If the school down the road decides that they're going to open a pronunciation division of their business, and you see them doing well, getting extra students, you think, well, let's straddle. Let's also do that. So you call a meeting, you tell your staff, from next month, we are going to do pronunciation lessons as well. So you're going to have to learn how to teach this. We're going to have to buy new equipment with mouths that go like that and do this and do that. And the staff are thinking, wow, this is stretching us a bit too far here. And then the next month, the school down the road, they decide they're going to offer study abroad. And they start getting clients, there's big margins, the exchange rates is good. You think, wow, I'll have a bit of that as well. I will do that. You straddle, boom, you step a bit too far, your overheads go up, and it's detrimental to your business. Do not straddle. You don't want to find yourself in that position. Decide what your strategic position is going to be. Make it very clear so the customers understand exactly who you are and what you do, and occupy that position and do it better than anyone else. And the last point I want to talk about is trade-offs. Trade-offs are the essence of strategy. Basically, that means more of one thing necessitates less of another. Think about that. More of one thing necessitates less of another. So if you're going to be the best at something, you've got to put a lot of effort and resources into it, which means you have to trade off other divisions, activities within your business. And I know people don't want to do that. They think, I don't want to get rid of that, because if I get rid of that, if you're an existing business and you start making trade-offs, which you have to do, I'm telling you, if you start making trade-offs, you're going to have to say sayonara to some students because you can't cater for them anymore. But you have to do that. But it's not a thing that people want to do, of course. Whereas if you're a new entrant, it's different because you set yourself up from the beginning and you target your customer segment or your market or your service. So the question you should ask yourself when creating a strategic position is choosing what not to do. What do we not do? Not what do we do. What do we not do? Well, we don't do this, we don't do this, we don't do this. And work your way back to what you're left with, which is what you're going to do, which is going to be your strength. Then step in and create your strategic position and dominate it. Anyway, I hope that's sort of clarified strategic position, the three types of position: variety-based, needs-based, access-based, the importance of not straddling, and the very important point of having to make trade-offs. Some food for thought for you. Until next time, when I'll see you again, in business, life and sport, give yourself the edge.